Hi guys, this is Breaker SE2, and I am back with another Heroes of the Storm replay. This is, yes, a pre-level 31. That's why you're going to see both this team, the blue team, my side, as well as the red team, supporting a Nova. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys a little talk-down rundown of the decisions that I make and why I make them. I'm also going to post this video and a guide to teamliquid.net that will hopefully give you guys some basic understanding of Nova and why I made the decisions that I did.
5,
to
4, 3,
I guess you'd say build her the way I did.
1.
As you can see, my in-game tag here is Yoey Flash Wolves Breaker. Don't get confused. I'm actually sponsored by HyperX, which is not in any way, shape, or form affiliated with Yoey Flash Wolves. I'm still trying to figure out how to get my camera to follow Nova. It's been a while since I've casted, or not really casted, but done anything with the replay. At this point in the game, I was actually eating a sandwich, ironically enough, but luckily no one came through. Okay, so scratch that, one guy, but two guys. One of them is about to go mid lane, if I'm not mistaken. And now we've got bottom lane to ourselves for a while, but that's because there's an early game gank that looks like it will be attempted here to no avail. This isn't going to be a cast. Try not to get confused about it. Trying to figure out how to follow my character. I'm trying to give you guys the sole focus on Nova, what I'm doing with her. And maybe this should finally get it done. Alright, maybe? It looks like I'm gonna have to spacebar for a while. Alright, so there we go. Of course I did go ahead and jump in on this guy. Expert giving me some lift. Nice side storm there. Of course, they're convinced that that hologram is me, which it is not. I'm feeling a little bit ballsy here, which is why I don't go for the heal straight away. Probably worked against me just a little bit, but yeah. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight my build tool. Hang on, let me pause this real quick until I can figure out how I'm supposed to follow myself. All right, so let's show abilities real quick. Good God, what is... Oh, boy. Alright, so I can see this is going to be a little bit... Oh, there we go. Is this me? It is me. Is it? Alright, continue. This is going through my vision, I think?
You're injured. Head to a healing...
No. Alright, hang on. I'm trying to figure this out. Which one of these darn guys is me? Oh, okay, I died. Hold on. Sorry about this. It's just, Heroes of the Storm non-friendly observer interface. There we go, I got myself. Too used to playing StarCraft, which is why I'm constantly going off of Nova and not looking at the minimap. I want to make sure and see what it is that I'm heading towards.
Choose a talent.
All right, so about those abilities, I went with the buff to snipe, the PsyOp rangefinder, if you will, because I knew that it would be nice for little situations like this where I might have it on cooldown or not have it on cooldown rather. If I had an extra shell to go, I would have gotten a finishing blow on that guy who just got away. But the reason why I got this, the main reason, was because I saw the enemy team had Stitch, and I don't want to get anywhere near Stitch. If possible, maybe try and do damage to him when he's as far away as conceivable.
We should take this mercenary camp.
Alright. Of course, someone pinged the mercenary camp. Not quite the right time just yet. But at this point, I'm basically like camping this guy. There we go. Beautiful. That's one way you can deny objectives with Nova, just using your basic abilities, the 3 that you start with. Nothing wrong with that. Of course, I do change things up just a little bit as the game goes on. Other abilities, as you upgrade them later on in the game, can't help to save objectives. But as you can see, the rest of the team shows up here, and their level 6 is starting to Raffle Stomp us more than just a little bit. I try to get away here. I can't remember if I do. Okay. Looks like I did. At least I got this healing fountain, but I can't remember if it actually healed me or not. Like if I died here or not, moreover. I do come in here. And I can't tell exactly who got the kill there, but your role as Nova, let's go ahead and fill this in. Your role here as Nova is never, just a minute, it's a little bit loud on my end. Your role as Nova is never to actually do, your role as Nova is basically just to do as much damage as possible to the enemy team. You're not a very strong lane pusher. You might be useful for taking down Mercs, but that's about it. Why Wong there was just taken down. And let's see here. All right. Let me see. Oh yeah. This adds to that damage. And Venom. It adds an extra ability, I guess you could say. But that didn't help me out here. At least not too terribly much. What this does do is it increases the burst potential you can do as Nova. Maximizing the burst potential would mean you're going to take triple tap as Nova, but that's not what I went with. Hang on, let me get myself, there we go. Alright, so which one did I go with here? I believe I went with, yeah, Explosive Round, because I want to make sure that I can make the most of my Q. Later on, I go ahead and get the cooldown on it, and that basically increases the amount of damage I can do with this. I can't remember how this conflicts with another one or not, but yeah. Doom here, coming in, getting the kill on a teammate, and I get the finishing blow with the extended range, the PSYOP rangefinder, if you will. And then I come in here, I wait for Domination to catch up. I throw down my E, of course, Stitch grabs me, pulls me towards the turret, I try to get away. Exchange a little bit of damage with him, and I can't remember if I actually survived here for the life of me. Which is not the important part. The thing you should be focusing on is making sure you're dealing out lots of hero damage as Nova, which at this point I barely got a lead on with the rest of my teammates. We've got Tyrael and Vala doing a decent amount as well. And as the game unfolds, I basically carry my weight in the way of damage. But again, I want to go ahead and highlight the babysitting aspect of Nova in this way. What you're doing is you're babysitting objectives, and you're also babysitting teammates. In this instance, I just straight up abandon my teammate. I make an excuse very soon. I basically tell him, objectives win games. And I can't remember, I don't think we got this one. Yeah, there we go. I made the excuse. I know it's a very weak, very poor thing to say, but there we go. I mean, I do as much as I can there to Stitch, but he's a tank nonetheless. Got Y Wong going into siege mode there. I try to get my Q out, missed the shot. So what I do here is I go for vision and I let my teammate get the second essence. We're slightly leading in the way of XP, as you can see at this moment, which shows the importance of objectives over team fights per se. Let's see here. Tyrael's gotten just a little bit more damage done than me, as well as Vala. Vala's a very strong burst ranged assassin. Alright, so there we go. I went ahead and activated my Venom here, if I'm not mistaken. I thought I got a buff. No, yeah, I got buffed. Cooldown for Venom is much, much longer than that. So we go for this Merc camp. And then I believe we go for the boss, and we call it very close too. Also take notice at this point that I've gone for, what is that? I forget what you call it. Precision Strike. I wanted to call it that, but I didn't want to get confused. My mana is quite low at this point, so I just stopped with the abilities, aside from the fact that I can't afford the mana to use them. And then I tried to use it to force a delay on them taking this objective, which of course is going to be Essence. So yeah, we do get the boss in exchange for that. I delay it just a little bit. I even do a good, nearly life-ending amount of damage to that hero at that location, but it's not gonna stop him. We're just too far away. So they get tribute number 3, and that puts them at 2 to our 1. And of course, we got Sylvanas raging at us. And this is the excellent part of babysitting. Boom. You'll never see this in competitive play. Nova versus Nova, but I mean, the first one to shoot their load is the one that stops. That's what she said, I guess you'd say, right? Anyway. Here we are. Get away with the mid gate. I try to get away from Doom here, and I think I do successfully. Yes. I try to go to top lane to help our boss golem push, of course, the first turret down. I think we got away with it, just barely. But of course, not with the boss golem on hand, if you will. Came very close to getting it with the boss golem, but this is something that might be tweaked a little bit later, but I don't think so. Oh boy. Punch. Yeah, I got it. I got it with the penetrating shot, if you will. I believe that was the upgrade to Nova's Q that goes through multiple enemies. No, I'm sorry. Okay, so it just missed Pudge completely. Alright, so I take every single cooldown that I can on Snipe. And what that does is it just gradually increases the amount of times that I can use Snipe throughout a game. The only thing that I can think of that I really backpedaled on or really made a huge mistake, retrogressed with, if you will. That was an ulti that only got one enemy, I think. Not too bad. It's better one than nothing, right? But as you can see, their Nova went for triple tap. My ulti caused the enemy team to scatter. They had to if they wanted to live. And that delayed this a little bit longer. And our Tyrael is getting a little bit overzealous. I do get a kill for it, but unfortunately their Tyrael comes in here and he ends my life. At this point I've got an upgrade to choose from, and let's see what I decide to go with. I believe I went with a Lethal Decoy. After all, the thing is, the reason why I went with this, and this might be an overgeneralization, is because Advanced Cloaking, and I feel like Headshot I wouldn't have been able to use frequently enough because I'm already dying a lot as Nova in this situation. So, if I'm gonna need Precision Strike that many times, I'm pretty much done for is what I'm thinking. Or not Precision Strike. If I'm gonna need Snipe that much, then I'm pretty much done for is what I was thinking. I went for advanced, or the reason why I just tossed up Advanced Cloaking is because, of course, there's no rush to get to a red light. If you're the only guy on your team, I know that may be an illogical thing to say. I would probably take something that takes a speed buff or gives you a speed buff if I was playing a tank. But at this point, I went with Lethal Decoy because if I can't finish off my opponent using Snipe or something else, or even, Lethal Decoy can actually change the pathing that your opponent chooses to take. At this point, I did a little bit of objective damage there with Vala at the top, but that's because Vala was there. You don't want to do that solo, and I'll show you why here in just a minute, just a second actually. I'm just like, is this real? Is this a holo decoy? Because I couldn't understand why their Nova was doing this. So I'm like, oh, okay, so this is real. Like, after seeing that it didn't die, and there it is, the burst, full blown. But of course, Nova has perhaps the lowest HP in the game. Tyrael came in there and finished him off, and I was just like, that's very, very interesting. At this point, I didn't have vision there. I got 2, maybe 3 enemies there with my Precision Strike. So I paid for myself, and this little play is actually kind of funny. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. We actually got away with the boss golem, although the enemy team killed it. And I just typed in all caps, nice. Tyrael came in for the cleanup, and so did Vala. And I just typed out, of course, as you can see, the good expletive. I liked it. It was nice. I wasn't paying too much attention to the objective here. It's also worth noting that your Precision Strike can also target objectives and deal damage to them. That means if there is a tower that is one shot, if there's a sentry that is one shot, you can finish it off, even if there are no minions nearby. You could even get the killing. Excuse me. You can get the killing blow on the core using that attack. And it's one of those aesthetics to the game that makes it a little bit more dynamic. I'm not too concerned with pushing this area, of course, because I'm pretty sure the mercs will do it themselves. I went over it just a little bit, helped them clear it up just a little bit faster, but it slows me down getting to my teammates. And this is where I make the mistake of getting overzealous, going in there with my Precision Strike, blowing it while it's only on 1 stack, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, they're over here. I don't want to do that. That sends out a red flag to anyone, and as you can see, there are 2 teammates that I have that are in the grave, 6 feet under. Let's get a look at the damage at this point. Okay, so as you can see, I'm pretty behind compared to Tyrael, but I mean, Tyrael's a melee assassin. He is meant to go forward and do damage like that. He's meant to get in there deep and stuff, and he's also got a lunge, so why not?
My blessing, you'd better run.
And it just so happened at this point that I had spawned right next to a blessing, and I decided to go back to it. Mechanics count so much. I wasn't sure where I should go here. I was cloaked at this moment, so I'm like, okay, I'll just go right here. A little bit safer. But if I wanted to, in retrospect, I should have gone to the lower left bush. If I'm not mistaken, I go at this point, and all's well that ends well. I tried to help my teammate finish off Doom. Precision strike on Stitches first, but he gets away with it. I came too late. It's gonna be a little bit of a mistake. I got yanked towards Stitch as well, and now I'm running for dear life. Tassadar, being the support that he is, tries to chase after me, flying overzealous there, ultra overzealous, and at this point I decided to go back home to heal up. At this point, I'm thinking I should have used, like, with that last team fight, if you will, I should have used lethal decoy going in. I believe I don't have any attacks that I went with. I didn't choose any upgrades that would give, or that would get a buff off of cloak. That is to say, no additional damage with snipe when cloaked, no additional slow with pitting shot while cloaked. So here I am, I'm babysitting Tyrael. This is what you should be doing. Not really necessarily acting in as expert, but I was calling for pings there for our tank. We got that basically scot-free. It was handed to us. And we went for the boss golem again. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, okay, we're pretty much good to go here. Lethal decoy is taking a little bit of damage there. But that's what you should be doing in this situation. A little bit of utility for objectives in this regard. A little bit of utility for mercenary games, if you will. Using your E to bait out enemies, if you will. Or at least AI in this instance. As you can see, we've got a slightly narrow lead because, if I'm not mistaken, last I checked, Blizzard's created, and this is me chasing Nova. Just as Stitch shows up, Stitch gets the absolute spot-on attack, if you will. He eats me alive and he carries me with him. I try to get away. Doesn't quite work out as the entire team shows up and just mingles me, if you will. Just absolutely give me a thrashing.
Got it anyway.
You got 50 seconds to respawn, and then, of course, their Nova died. As well as their whatchamajig. I'm sorry, I don't play World of Warcraft, or Warcraft, excuse me. Not entirely sure what that is. I never played Diablo either, so I've got a lot of names to learn here. The reason why I don't click away right now is because I don't want to be taken to a portion of the map that I wasn't looking at. Of course, at this point we got the curse, we got the advantage that turns all of their minions, if you will, to one shots, if you will, and their turrets are all forced to not fire at you. Fountains, I'm not sure, but I think they can still be used. Healing fountains, that is to say. And at this point, I was just gawking, if you will, on the map. I was trying to get the precision strike to hit Doom. I've got a second stack on it. I decide not to use it, and that's where I go ahead and point out the importance of utility in this situation. I went for the precision strike, precision barrage, if you will, because I thought, well, I can use this for 1, more team fights, and 2, more objectives. I did a little bit of damage to their Tassadar, as you can see, but was I killed here? I was. I got extremely overzealous. Yeah, I didn't even see my own position there. It's easy to get caught up in that stuff if you're new to MOBAs, or if you're at least new to this game. Heroes of the Storm, when compared to Dota 2 or League of Legends, is not quite as developed. Hopefully Blizzard will keep on cranking out patches to help out with it, and that'll give it a huge change. There's already 11 million people signed up for the beta. I wouldn't be surprised to see a crash on the Blizzard server. These guys getting their mercs. One thing that I think I have not mentioned to this point is the advantages of Precision Strike. If you're using Double Barrage, you're forcing your opponents to reposition themselves not once but twice. So that can come in handy in the middle of team fights. Because the last thing the entire enemy team wants to do is take a huge Precision Strike to the face. That very seldom would happen, but if you can combine it with the right abilities, it is definitely viable. Again, I get overzealous here. I should have known before I went in here I was going to die. I didn't get the kill there, of course. I didn't get the killing blow because Stitch ate me alive. And I was hesitant to use my final Precision Strike shot there. But I actually did use it in a way that got him killed. I'm trying to figure out there what just killed me. But, well, we're waiting for that to happen. We're checking up on the damage that it did. And thus far, I lead the entire team in the way of hero damage. Siege damage is not that great. I'm actually at the bottom, and that's because, again, Nova is that babysitter in many ways. The reason why I went with, what I have for my ultimate Precision Strike over Triple Tap is, again, based on the objective that is on the map. If I can use Precision Strike well, then I can prevent the enemy team from getting it. As you guys saw in the earlier portions of this guide, if you will. However, the advantage of Triple Tap is that you can just do a whole hell of a lot more damage to your opponents. I didn't go with that in this because I saw they've got Pudge, they've got Tyrael, and I could see, or Pudge, wow. They got Stitch, they've got Tyrael, and I could see that definitely backfiring in some ways. Stitch is really tanky.
Nova here.
So yeah. At this point, I respawn with 3 of my teammates dead. And again, I'm just gawking at this point. I'm trying to figure out, okay, when am I going to respawn? Because I'm used to having the camera autofocus on me when I respawn. I'm also keeping an eye on the enemy team's core. There's a boss working its way up the bottom of the map. And I just veered away from it because it's like, okay, well, I'm Nova. I'm not a great damage dealer. I'm a great hero damage dealer, not so much in the way of objectives. And I was thinking to myself, okay, so why don't I get their Nova? But foolish me, I should have known better. At this point, I decided to go for this objective, and you're about to see a scenario that is very interesting. Let's just put it that way, just very interesting.
Eliminated.
They were just pinging it wildly, so I decided I was gonna get it. Precision Strike went down on their Nova, their Stitch eats me alive, and I get a Q out, as well as a W, that gets the kill on their Nova. However, they still get the objective because my teammates are still respawning. And that's just the way things crumble in this game. Our team is cursed right now, which means we're on the back foot, if you will. But, again, in the way of hero damage, going strong. I'm still the highest on the team. I was pinging again and again for them to go get the objective, but then I saw they were too late. I was a little bit mesmerized here as to why they were going for the boss golem. I was like, guys, just go for their core. But nonetheless, it looks like a fight that we can win, so we just go in there. I die. And I keep an eye on what's happening here, and of course, it looks like they win the team fight, and they get a free boss. So that's the second boss we've stolen from them. Boss golem, that is to say. And, again, kind of scot-free. At this point, the entire enemy team is dead. We will be at their core when they all respawn. Assuming that they're all still alive at the same time. I use Precision Strike here just because I want to help out a little bit more in speeding up the process to getting it. And I do this just to show off to the enemy team a little bit. And of course, we've got the Siege Minion there.
For now.
Sorry, just puffing on my electronic cigarette at this moment. And what I'm gonna do just before this game ends is I'm gonna go through and get a screen cap of the abilities that I went with, as well as the amount of damage that I did to the enemy team. Sergeant Hammer outdid me just a little bit. So, and in some ways, I guess you could say I was playing a very rusty Nova in this game. Very, very rusty indeed. Simply based on the fact that I gave the enemy team 8 kills. And now you guys, next place you guys will see this VOD is on YouTube. Hopefully you guys will check out the Team Liquid guide that I made. This is Breaker SC2. I'll catch you guys later.